France 2, Morocco 0. France are into the semi-final of the World Cup, and I think a lot of people would have had them as one of the final four before the tournament, and it's never really been any doubt as this tournament's gone on. Clean sheets all through the knockout stages now. Very convincing group stage performances where they won every game convincingly and topped it with 9 points. They've been the best performing team in that aspect so far. Scored the most goals, looking the most dangerous, got the most attacking quality, and at this moment I think they are favourites to win the competition, and I don't really think you can argue with that at the moment. So of course they're through now to semi-final. We'll find out who they're playing tonight, Spain or Belgium. One of them will go through. Being all European semi-final, whatever happens now on that side of the bracket. The last African team standing are out as well, and again fantastic run for Morocco, and I believe they were the first African team to ever win a point at the World Cup and the first to ever get out of the group stage, I believe. So they are, and they were the first as well to make the semi-final, and there was one game away from doing it again this time round, and they're now established as a regular sort of dark horse, a regular kind of threat for they're considered the big side now, and they're rightly so. They're a top team now, and they're one of the highest rated teams in the world with their win percentage throughout the last years, and since that last World Cup, they've gained more experience. They've, scoring more goals, and they've still got. Overall, this tournament, they've been very solid, at the back, and they've been very solid throughout the tournament. Finished second in the group, only on goal difference, and then managed to, get past the Netherlands, impressive performance, get past Canada convincingly in the end. So, they've had a fantastic tournament, so fair play to them, and many would have said France was always going to be a step too far for them, and it's the same score line as they beat them with in the semi-final last time out when they ended their tournament. 2-0 win for France. This seems to be the one that they just cannot get past Morocco, but I knew they wouldn't run away with it. France, I knew Morocco would be in the game and they'd make it competitive even without Sarabi, which I think was a real blow because Morocco weren't short of the ball in this game, and I think the way the first half started, it was very much France forcing the issue. It was very much France on the counter, France creating all the chances, which is no surprise with their attacking quality they've got. But Morocco retained a lot of the ball in this game. They weren't short of possession. They actually had more possession than France had, and which is interesting. They was able to keep possession, they was able to win the ball back well, and they was able to get into some good areas, but they didn't create the chances, and you do wonder how much of that is not having Sarabi, because his position was always good and he was always be there to know how to pick him out, and you feel like if the big chances come from Morocco, it'll be him who made it happen, and him not being there was a major blow, of course, and you feel that Morocco, they, like I say, overall didn't play badly, but I think France had 10 shots within I think the third sort of half hour of the game, and Morocco still hadn't had one, and I think that tells the story really. They had the ball, but when they got the ball, struggled to create the clear-cut chances that France were creating, because in that first half they was the team creating the chances, they was having chances, and eventually they get themselves in a position to win the penalty. And Masraoui, it has to be a penalty. As soon as that he went in, I knew that would be a penalty. He really just went through the man, didn't actually take any of the ball there really, but of course usual routine, we go to VAR, penalties given. And Mbappe, again, we've seen some big players miss penalties this tournament. Mbappe misses the penalty, usually so clinical from the spot, has been in previous games in this tournament, but not a great penalty. Of course, Bono, a great goalkeeper. If you take against a goalkeeper like that, if you take a poor penalty, he will save it. Sometimes keepers can get caught out even by poor penalties. They'll go the wrong way or they won't reach in time. Like he will always. If your penalty is not up to standard, he's getting saved by a keeper like that. And so because of that, mainly going into the break, Morocco are still in the game, still 0-0, and it still feels like with the game at 0-0, still finely poised, finely balanced, despite France being the team that was doing more with the ball. It's still in the balance. And in that second half, France did really take charge quite early on. Desadoy and Mbappe link up, and Mbappe strikes through the ball. Still got work to do from that position. He scores a brilliant goal. Puts France 1-up, and from there they're straight back in again. Mbappe creates the second goal as well. The second goal he had played his part in as well. Dembele is through on goal, but still a long way out again, and it's a brilliant. And he drives with the ball for a while. He has to keep the ball for a while, goes forward until he is in that position where he's through on goal, and it's still way out, and he takes a really good strike which puts France 2-0 up, and from there it always felt like Morocco were probably out, and it was France were there from that point. But Morocco didn't stop. They still tried to force issue. They did have some shots, they did have some chances, and one goal would have gotten back into it, but without the main man up top, it was always going to be very difficult. France always was going to have the attacking quality of France was always going to be the ultimate test for Morocco, and it's what they eventually come unstuck with in this tournament. In the end, France are looking pretty unstoppable at the moment. Are there teams in the tournament that could beat them? I think so, but I think at this moment, France, they would be the favourites for this World Cup. There's scary, scary teams. The attack is firing so well, and everyone in that attack links up so well. The defence on paper was what people said might be the one weakness. You know, the defence to start yesterday. Obviously, Lacroix has featured at times, but it's been mostly what we saw yesterday, which we see Upamecano and obviously Saliba, excellent centre back. But Upamecano has his fans, has had some. I've seen him have some really shocking games, though, and I know he's got his critics as well. You've got Luca Digne on one side, and then and of course they have played different options. They've got different options that can come in. But Koundé's on the other side. And people have said that if that might be the one weakness with France, that might be the one way to get at them. And obviously, I don't think they've quite come up against the attacking talent that they will if it's against in the next game, whoever it is. But I do think that the defence don't gift away chances, and I think they're with the attack they've got in front of them, they're definitely good enough to be able to. What we've seen so far in this tournament, I mean, you can't argue with 3 clean sheets in the first 3 knockout stage games. So that's going to be difficult as well. France are going to take some beating. Top manager as well, Deschamps. This team is looking scary good. They're looking scary, and it's them who make it through in the end. Very, very impressed with them. France as well, just consistent and efficient as always again yesterday, and that's been the story so far for France. They just haven't. Every game they've played in so far, they've been by far the better team, and it's just not even been in any question about it. France have got through in. Obviously, in the end, conclude they beat Morocco 2-0. They're through to the first. That's the first quarter-final complete. Next up, tonight's game, we see Spain taking on Belgium. Looking forward to this one. This is to decide who France are going to play. Another big game. The reaction to this will be out tomorrow.